Welcome into hashtag everyone, talking about hashtag everything. Ryan Muma here with you in the downtown Quincy studios, breaking it down with none other than the lovely Laura. And the practically perfect Penny as well.
Nice.
Yeah, no Caitless again. And Macless.
And Macless.
Both
yes.
gone. Or it's
Yes,
just
we miss
us.
them.
The
Just the three of us.
Magnificent Mac and I don't know.
the
Did we ever?
crazy Kate.
There we go.
Yeah.
Kate Train.
I was gonna say that and then some, but the crazy three-headed monster that we are, I guess,
There
is
you go.
back in studio
There you
ready
go.
to roll.
There you
So-
go. We're ready.
I
Right,
like it.
and we've talked about a lot of things off air that we're gonna bring on air, and we'll get to it. But we definitely want to plug the Shrab leg and crimp boil that we have, of course.
Nice. Purposeful this
that's
week. If
right.
you were tuning in last
I
week,
like
Oh, I
we're
tell
just
ya.
So
continuing with it.
100%. All you can eat crab leg and shrimp boil, of course, coming up on March 13th, Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. at the Ambiance here in Quincy. Live music and fun, $60, of course, for it. For more information, call or text 217-617-3568. And, of course, more info by emailing info@upatdowncountry.com. Again, that's info@upatdowncountry.com.
And get your friends together.
Do it.
Get a table, and you do have to pay to reserve a table, but then it's your table all night. Otherwise, it's just kind of first come, first serve.
That's right.
And there's
Proceeding.
lots of food, not just shrimp
Oh,
and
my gosh.
crab leg.
Whole hog?
There
Whole-
is. Go ahead. What is it?
Oh,
I just messed that up. I called it whole hork.
oh.
So that's fun. I swear I talk for a living, but yeah, whole hog.
There it is.
So get all the.
I think you were
fixings.
saying pulled pork and whole hog
I
at
was.
the
That's
same
on-
time.
I like it.
Yeah,
Hey, we're human.
It's fine.
we're
human.
Well, there it is.
human.
And we talked about that last week. We talked about that last week a little bit, talking about how we're human, and it was a really good conversation. We kind of want to expand on it, I think, for a way of saying it. That Penny, you had come in to the studio here this morning, and talking about how there was moments when you were more of a parent. You're still a parent, but more of a in that
Hands-on parent.
There you go. I like that.
Hands-on, front line.
More of which where I'm at right now.
Yes.
In life, because we wear many hats, Penny. I don't know if you know this.
Yes, we do.
But
heard that.
talk about this a little bit for us, kind of this mindset, and I think it'll help us springboard where we want to go.
Okay, so my opening thought was when we all came in here this morning was I just remember when I was raising children, when my husband and I, sorry, I need to give some credit to that man, don't I? It's pretty significant in the whole process.
Yeah.
When we were raising kids, I did work part-time, and there were times that, shifting gears from, working all day, and the next day I was working at home all day, doing stuff around the house, all that other
And you
kind
have
of
three pretty close in age.
Yeah, they're all within 6 years.
Uh-huh.
I mean, oldest and the youngest are 6 years apart.
Yeah.
So,
That's a household.
yeah.
That's the only point I'm trying to make here.
Big time.
That's a household.
That's true. And we always had extras, and it was lovely. I absolutely loved it that we had that house that nieces and nephews were just there, and sometimes they just stayed there, just because it was more fun to be at Penny and Uncle Brian's house than, at home. Or friends of my daughters, they would all, it was just an open door policy, just people were always in and out, and it was great. Wouldn't change anything about that. But anyway, what my point was there were times, even though I'm a professional, a mental health professional, somebody you would think who knew what she was doing at all times, you would expect that.
Surely, Penny, you had it all together.
Plot twist, no. And I would always call those stupid parenting tricks. I'm like, well, I know that bag of tricks too. But anyway, I would oftentimes feel overwhelmed, or I felt like I didn't know what I was doing with said child of mine, and just overwhelmed and thinking, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
And I always had this one particular book at my nightstand in our bedroom, and it was titled Raising Your Spirited Child. And it was my desperate attempt to not see kids as disorders or give them a diagnosis. And this book just took it from a different angle of your child is spirited. They're not a problem. They're not this, and this. They're just spirited. And how do you harness that energy? How do you harness that determination? How do you harness that confidence? Which sometimes I'm like, I appreciate your confidence, but don't put it towards me, you know? But anyway, I would just go in and plot myself when the kids were completely taking care of a supervisor somewhere, maybe watching TV.
Yeah,
I don't know. They were somewhere.
That's right.
And I would just plop down on my bed and open up this book, and it would just be any random page in the book. I would just open it up like you do a Bible, like this,
There
you
you
know,
go.
and I'd read a paragraph. I'm like, all right, fine, I got it. Boom. And I would get up and I would walk out, and I feel like I was ready to conquer something. And it would just be like any kind of an encouraging, positive sentence or paragraph to kind of make me feel like, one, you're not losing your ever-loving mind.
Right.
Because when you're raising children, you really do feel like you have the weight on your shoulders of like, I got to make sure this is a
You
good
just
human.
second guess everything.
Yes, you just want to create good humans, and you think of everything you don't want them to be, while you're also thinking of everything you want them to be. And guess what? Another plot twist: you really don't get to control it. You just get to manage it between here and 18, and after that, they decide what they
Yep.
do and become, and it's great and wonderful. So anyway, that was kind of my opening thought for you guys today. Was it's like, what was your coping? What did you do to kind of help you get through that? More so, maybe Laura and Ryan. What are you doing now to get through
To
it?
get through it at the moment.
In the moment.
I have to think back. I think I might let Ryan go first because I don't honestly know. I mean, I can remember when they were, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again at 9, 10, and then again at 17, 18. I mean, in other words, there are moments always, 23 and 25. There are moments always where you second guess the things you're saying because it is the weight of the world to try to mold these human beings. And when they're older, in some ways it's harder. And I hate to tell Ryan that.
It is.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Yeah,
It's
appreciate you.
different.
It's
so
different,
So
but you
different.
have to allow space.
Yeah.
And when they're younger, you don't have to allow any space because by golly, you're in charge. And so it's just a totally different mindset, but it never really ends. And actually, my mother-in-law walked into the hospital room. My firstborn was in the NICU, and I was in the room all by myself. And she said, "Congratulations, now you get to worry for the rest of your life."
Not wrong.
What did you do? Did you go?
It was so my mother-in-law to say that
Yeah.
because she just has a great sense of humor. But she meant it, but she also laughed.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
yeah.
And-
so honest.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Welcome to parenting.
Yeah.
So honest. Just to kind of, and Ryan, I want to hear more from you, but I think Laura and I are both in the same stage of life where we have these 20-something now who are just doing life on their own. My thing is, when they were all home, I was in control, and I'm not a control freak. I was in control of the schedules. I was in
Right.
control of up and down, all around, and all that other kind of stuff. Now I receive schedules.
Ooh.
And I'm like, okay. And I'm okay with their schedules. It's just
Right.
like, now how
But
do I
that's different.
pivot? Because
Yeah.
before it was all front line. I was their part
Managing,
of the
doing,
planning and da-da-da-da.
planning,
Now I
yep.
just receive the schedule and then I go from there. And it's great. It's just not what I had been doing when we were Ryan's age
Right.
raising children.
Right.
It's weird because I mean I don't necessarily know what my coping mechanism is, other than maybe going and playing golf for a little while.
There you go. Yeah.
That's about it. Or just I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. I know I do something. I know I joke about the golf thing, but that
I think
counts,
that's
but,
absolutely fair.
but I think
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it kind of just comes and goes. I'm at a point where I got three-nagers that do their thing, and
Wait, can you say that again?
three-nagers. That's right.
So
That-
you said that earlier before we were on air, and I had never heard that.
See,
Is
that's more
is
my
that a
wife.
thing now? Or
Well,
that's a.
I
that's
think
a
so.
Other,
I think so.
She invented it.
So the wife kind of embraced it a little bit more. I'm just kind of along for the ride. That's kind of life in general. But no, I've heard it a lot more.
Okay.
With my friends that have
I love that your generation has invented this term
Yeah.
because it's way better than the terminology we used.
Yes, which was negative.
Exactly.
Well, I guess this could be, but not,
Yeah.
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 But, well, hold on though. I think again, it comes and goes. It
Right,
stages, and
right.
you think at the time it works, and at the time it did work. And,
Right.
You know, you embrace, you know, the change or whatever, because me saying it's a three-nager, it's going to be completely different when my kids are going through it.
Right.
I'm sure. you know.
Right.
But no, to what you're saying, I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know what the coping is. I don't know what that is. And it's going to, like you said, Laura, it's going to change. It's going to change as they get older. It's going to change as they grow, you know, and you know, kind of go through life differently, you know, in their own form or fashion. And I guess kind of one of the big things. And
And it changes with each of them, because even though
100%.
you have twins,
Yeah.
they each have their own
way of
special
doing things.
thing, which
Yeah.
means you're going to have to cope separately and differently with each of them.
It's 100%. It's 100%. Let's
Yeah.
let's put a pin in it. We'll come back.
Already?
Oh yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. We will come back and we will get after it, have some more fun, and talk more about this on the other side. It's hashtag everyone talking about hashtag everything. We'll be right back. Welcome back to hashtag everyone talking about hashtag
Everything.
That's right. Ryan here with you.
Don't know why I chimed in.
You did well, though. You did well. It was very nice vocalization.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Very nicely done. I could say that word, but apparently can't say others. Ryan Moomin here with you. That is the lovely Laura. That is the practically perfect.
And the words you
Penny.
cannot say are
That's right. Get signed up and get your tickets for the first annual all-you-can-eat crab leg and shrimp boil.
There you go.
Coming up on March 13th. Of course, that's a Friday, and it's from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Ambiance here in Quincy. Live music and fun, only $60, but get your.
Oh, I'm glad you
friends
said the live
together.
music part, because
Yeah.
it's not just a meal.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good
It's a
point.
full-on party. It's like a
and fun.
kind of like a Mardi Gras party, only it's in the middle of Lent
Oh,
instead of the start. Yeah.
That's all right. But again, you got all you can eat kind of thing, and it's a ton of fun. You can, for more information, call or text 217-617-3568 or email info@upatdowncountry.com.
And while we're at it,
Yes,
I
please.
just want to tell the audience to also mark in your little calendar March 21st, 321 World Down Syndrome Day. There's going to be a big party and a brand new reveal for Down Country, and I'm not going to say a lot more than that because
her
Kate will
handle
be
that.
back with us next week, and I think she should tell.
And everything's on Facebook. Go to their
There
Facebook
you go.
page.
Okay, there you
go.
There you
Everything's
go.
on there.
Done.
And
All
we
right.
all know
Bang.
everybody's on social media. Just go ahead and pop right on over to
There you go.
Facebook.
There you
Give it a
go.
like, give it a follow, do the whole thing, the whole
Yep.
nine. So
And I
it's-
bet you can find all the information on the crab leg and shrimp boil
There it is.
on the marketplace event page.
100%.
Oh.
My guess is I will double check that during our next break.
Oh, I get it. If it's
But
already
I
up, if it's
bet
there,
you it's
I'm sure
there.
you can. There's no doubt. Where did we want to go next? See,
Oh.
you said all this stuff,
I
Laura,
know.
but for good reason.
No, but Penny had the
Yes.
go-to, and
The
I've forgotten.
pivot.
Okay,
The pivot.
The pivot. So I think
Pivot, Penny.
pivot. Pivoting penny. I think when we're talking about coping, how are we coping? How are we getting through the different stages of life, specifically referring to parenting, other than or now? But I think I wanted to make sure, just because you're coping and trying to find ways to cope doesn't mean you have to be away from your kids. You know, you can take your kids with you golfing.
Yeah.
You can go outside and play together, because there's something that is very beneficial to you when you're relaxing and enjoying life with your child.
Yeah.
You know, because
Absolutely.
you do get so bogged down with the schedule and get them here, get them there, even if they're teenagers and, you know, they're going to school and they're doing all this other stuff. And it's just like, take time to have fun. But at the same time, it's okay if you do want to get away from them just for a little bit of time. Don't do it forever, because you really
Yes.
need to be with them.
What is the
But go ahead.
psychological benefit of kind of changing gears, changing scenes? So let's say we're in the middle of play date meltdown. And you're sitting there with this, this would be my story. And you're sitting there with your friends. And so you're having good quality time because you're visiting with your peers who also, and you're thinking to yourself, well, my children are having good quality time because they're playing next to, not necessarily even with at that point, because they don't play with each other for a little bit, but then they start playing with each other as they age. But they're playing with and next to kids their age. But then one or the other of your two has like meltdown, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to leave, but we have to change gears. We have to do something different. Because sometimes it's not about like a timeout or whatever. Sometimes it's just changing gears.
That's a good point.
So is there and that's not necessarily your question about how what was the initial question was,
Just
how do I
like
cope?
Cope, yeah.
But that may be a coping mechanism that I
Yes.
did use without me
Yes.
even thinking of it as my coping.
Yes.
Well, I think there's no necessary, and I'm sure you're going to say this, Penny. There's no right or wrong. It's kind of finding, what you do. I can speak from an experience kind of standpoint. We are blessed with a great friend group.
It's so helpful. That is a
helpful.
coping
I
mechanism
agree.
in and of itself.
100%. And specifically,
Find your people.
yeah, specifically my best friend and my wife's best friend, who are obviously together our best friends, if
Nice.
you will, that are in so many ways family rather than just friend. But in our case, my wife's best friend, my friend as well, obviously, she will sometimes kind of take our kids because we know, like, they sometimes, for whatever reason, will listen to others rather than parents.
Yeah.
All the
yeah.
time.
And that's
Absolutely.
That's also kind of a sidebar. That's kind of a measuring stick that I guess I kind of pat myself on the back. They're doing well.
Yeah.
That they're
going to push
growing.
against you, Dad.
Right.
Yes.
But they're going to
Because
listen to
they're
others because
comfortable.
you've trained them well.
Right.
Yes.
They're
I
comfortable with us to
100%
be
agree.
able
Yeah.
to have an outburst
Yeah.
or do XYZ versus going to whomever and not doing that. So for what you're saying, if I was in those shoes, our friend would kind of be the quote unquote, not disciplinary, but the disciplinary, and kind of telling them, hey, we don't do this. Let's calm down. Let's do, because they'll listen to
Right.
X person. So that's kind of that, or as you kind of put it, changing the scenery a little bit of what they're doing in that given moment. But that's kind of, I guess, to answer your question, my coping mechanism.
Yeah. No, it's good.
And I think what you're also touching on is you're having a good time, but it's clearly obvious that small child of yours needs to shift gears. They
Yeah.
need to go do something different.
Yeah.
And I think this is a lot of what we're talking about too. And Ryan, you're hot and heavy in this, and that is, how do you balance what you really want with what they really want,
Yep.
and which goes first? Which ultimately we all know which one it should be. But man, it's hard to make that decision. Sometimes, like, I'm having so much fun with my friend,
Yeah.
but this kid needs to go home.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
kid is done, and
Yeah.
you have to make that decision
Yeah.
to go do what's best for the kid, because you
Right.
know that's more important at that moment than what you're needing. And it sounds like that's what you did, even
yeah.
though you're sitting there going,
Yeah.
grumble,
Grumble, grumble,
grumble.
grumble. That was a book, wasn't it? Grumble, grumble,
Yes,
grumble.
it is. Yes,
Well,
it is.
that's the tough decisions, though. And it does, I say tough decisions. Oh, you don't get to go play with, you don't get to go play with your friends.
Exactly.
And, you have to go and move your kid,
I like that.
The reality is that is.
Yeah.
That is so true.
I'd be honest. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that the blessings that I have of my two kids have also kind of they've taken away from different things I used to be able to do
Sure.
because that's the reality. But it's and I know I say this all the time. It's finding a balance,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
trying to figure that out. But I'd also be lying to you if I didn't say that. Yeah, I just talked about my quote unquote coping or what worked. It doesn't always. We
Right.
can go do that.
Good
It doesn't always
point.
work. They could be well and beyond themselves of not wanting to be there anymore, and friend doesn't work. That my friend doesn't work, or them listening. So it's trying to figure out. Okay, like you said, Penny. Maybe unfortunately for you, it's time to leave.
Yeah. Yes.
Or maybe you had dinner plans to go do. Go out to dinner. Oh, they're not listening. You know what? We're going to go ahead and we're just going to cancel those because you have to.
Yes.
Because of where they're at, and I think kind of the overall, and we'll continue to kind of expand on it. Like there is no one size fits all. There is no one size fits all that the thing that worked yesterday will work today.
Absolutely.
But
mean,
at the
that's
same time, I don't
constant
think you
struggle.
give up on it either.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because that's when you realize your kids, determination might be a tad bit stronger than you anticipated.
Yeah, the title of that book was The Spirited Child.
Strong
I'm like,
spirited,
holy
yeah.
cow. Which, as cute as it is, one of my daughters, who is now a mama, you want to know the first book she got?
I
Was
love it.
Raising Your Spirited Child. And you know
Yeah.
where it sits?
On her nightstand.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes, and she totally appreciates it now from her perspective, even though she always knew it was a book that was my go-to book.
Yeah.
But my profession helps her to know that. It's not
Right.
anyway, yeah, my
Do you ever-
profession did that. Yes.
Random, totally random. You kind of said how your daughter, is doing that. I'm kind of in kind of a similar boat in the sense of, I mean, I don't know how many times I've called like my mom and, for lack of a better way of saying it, kind of complained to her, like let it all out kind of thing. And I'm sure my mom, when I give her those calls on the other side, I can't see her, is smiling. Like, oh, welcome, like, oh, you're dealing with that in the best way possible.
Yes.
But, how is that from your guys' perspective? Maybe more so on,
Yeah, Penny, because I'm not there yet.
yeah, right. They don't have kids yet, but like again, just dealing with the adult life, having those phone calls with them, it's just like I just don't know what to do sometimes. How do those phone calls go or conversations go? I mean, how awesome is it from your perspective?
I feel so fortunate that the girls reach out to not just me, but to Brian, my husband, as well. And I think that that's wonderful, even though oftentimes we're not giving them any additional
Well, that's the other thing,
information,
too, yeah.
but it's just nice that they reach out to us. And now that I'm seeing the new mama and her family more often, I'm just on the front lines now, and it's great, and it's
Yeah.
great. Love
You're
it,
back
love
to
it, love it.
hands-on.
I'm back to the hands-on, and I don't know how I'm going to answer that, and I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm struggling with it, but
I don't
it's
even
probably
think
because I have
there's an answer,
110
but yeah.
thoughts going through my head at the very time, different
Well,
visuals.
hold on, real quick, not to cut you off, but
Yes.
you just said it though.
What?
I mean, sometimes you're not even giving advice. Sometimes you're just there as the.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let me say it this way. It's probably a bad way of saying it. You're kind of there as like the punching bag. You're kind of just let me go ahead and give you all of this. You know what I mean? If that's the right way of saying it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm going to lay all this stuff out there because, and again, I've called my mom in particular for a lot of things.
Yeah,
like,
but I bet your mom hasn't offered up advice without being asked.
yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's...
I try not
So
to.
that
Yeah.
would be hard
Yeah.
to be right there all the time and go zip it.
Yeah, right. I think what
Yeah.
I've noticed is that, when spicy little grandson does his thing, either one of his parents will look at me. I'm like, yeah, that's normal. It's okay.
Right.
You're fine. Just be stronger spirit than he is, And then I'm just kind of smiling when we walk away, and they're like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, you got this. You got
Isn't
this.
that... Honestly, I thought that's where the conversation was going to go from the beginning.
What's that?
You don't think things are normal.
Oh, yes.
You
you're
second
right.
guess everything.
Oh, that's a good
You
point.
know what?
That's a
Let's
very
put
good
a
point.
pin in that and we'll
All
talk
right.
about that on the other side.
No, that's
exactly
so good.
it.
Yes.
Second guessing everything. All right. We'll be right back with hashtag everyone talking about hashtag everything. Welcome back to hashtag everyone talking about hashtag everything. That's right. There it is. Ryan Muma here with you. And of course, the lovely Laura, the practically perfect Penny, Kateless, Macless. We've been rolling throughout the show here today. One more plug for you. Again, get your tickets for the all-you-can-eat crab leg and shrimp boil coming up on March 13th, which is a Friday from 6 to 9 p.m. at the Ambiance here
My
in
gosh, I
Quincy.
think that's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, it's
Oh my
coming up,
gosh.
coming up quick. Live music and fun. $60, of course, per person. But again, get your, or per ticket, I should say. But again, get your friends and fam all together. For more information, you can call or text 217-617-3568 or email info@upatdowncountry.com. So one of the things we landed on as we land this ship or plane or whatever you got.
As we traverse throughout our conversations,
That's how these conversations go. They go in all kinds of
landing
different directions.
planes, traversing. I don't know. It just came to
I
mind.
like it. I like it.
One of the things that
Good.
Laura kind of rerouted us back
Thank
to
you.
where we were going to
Ah,
go.
the airplane analogy.
There it
is.
There it is.
Is we second guess things.
Yeah, I mean, Penny said
Yes.
she's there with a spirited grandchild.
He's a fun, great kid.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
I'm sure
once
he's
again,
wonderful.
yeah.
But
I think it
also,
sounded
I
good.
think when your kids were 2, it may have taken more to think spirited than when your grandchild is spirited
Yes.
because you're a little older. I don't know if that's true yet or not
Right.
because I'm not a grandparent yet. But anyway, it cracked me up because you said the parents, so daughter and son-in-law, look at each other and then look at you like,
It's okay.
What is this? And I go, that's a child.
So,
that is
and my
choosing
point
to be
was,
stubborn.
everyone doesn't have a mental health professional to look to at every moment that something is a little
Hold
awry.
on, though. I think it take it a step further. Some, like myself, my parents live
Yeah.
5 hours
Yes.
away.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not even the
Mental health professional. Maybe it's just
the
it's
parent.
obviously
Mom and
the
dad.
grandparent,
Right,
At
right.
or obviously your parents. My father-in-law lives 5 hours the other way. You know? So it's honestly a majority of the time it's me and my wife. We don't have necessarily that seasoned vet, if you will, that's
Sure,
been there,
sure,
done
sure.
that, to be able to look at and go, is that normal?
Yeah.
We have to kind of figure that out ourselves.
And thank goodness you have your good friends going through it at the same
Yeah.
time.
100%, yeah.
Because back
Yep.
to that little nugget that we
Yes.
talked about earlier, when I had my little kids play group, it was way as much for me as it was for the kids.
100%.
Yeah.
Because you did have peers to bounce ideas off of, to think things through, to give that glance to, ooh, that was weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right. Okay, great. That was all right. Because
Right.
you do second guess so much of what you're doing.
Yes.
Well, there's
Yes.
been times, total sidebar, but along the lines of what you're saying, there's been so many times that my wife with her girlfriend, who are really good friends of ours, practically family, like when one of the kids gets sick or has a rash, we'll like send it to her, be like, what is this? You know what I mean? What are your thoughts? And vice versa, you know,
Right.
and you know, kind of the whole nine. But no, I mean, to kind of overview it, I mean, yeah, I second guess. My wife second guesses things all the time. And I think that's definitely, and I look at you, Penny, that's normal, you
Yes.
know, to do that in the sense of, you know, why did I do that? Why are they
And you don't
doing
second
that?
guess every single decision.
Well,
I mean, because you
right.
can't spend your whole life doing that either.
Right, yes.
But I don't know.
There are certain
It must
things,
be
yeah.
normal.
Isn't there something about if you're second guessing it and you're not doing it all the time, that's a sign of healthy,
Well, that's
confident
sort of
that
what I was
you're
wondering.
probably
That's what I was
doing-
asking you.
that you're probably doing a pretty good job because you care so much that you're evaluating yourself
Yeah.
and you're evaluating the situation, you're evaluating the child to make sure are you steering this child in a good direction, you know. So I think that if you're even second guessing it, I think that that's a good sign. Just don't do it all the time, like you said,
Right.
because then you're just going to be riddled with anxiety, and then
Yeah.
guess what, the kid's going to have
And
anxiety.
I'm sitting here thinking about this conversation, and we're all talking about. I mean, I have one child who is not neurotypical, and so perhaps a smidge more spirited. But I think, given the community of our listening audience, I think in that community you probably second guess yourself a smidge more.
I
Yeah.
think there's something
Absolutely.
to that. Thank you for bringing that
Yeah,
back. I think that's a very
because
good point.
I mean, with my kiddo, we got 2 totally different diagnoses. Whatever, like one in 4th grade than the one in summer before 9th grade was totally the opposite of. So, but you know that the neurotypical child behaves X and the neurodivergent child behaves Y. Not always, but definitely more spirited. And I do remember thinking, well, they're just different. But until I got the diagnosis in summer before 9th grade, we just battled over so many things that we didn't need to battle over.
Right.
And that really changed the temperament in our household. Getting
That's
the
interesting.
right diagnosis and knowing that those coping skills might need to be a little bit different, and then finding a book like your book, finding the right patterns to use and seeking out expertise instead of just going with the flow. It really did change a lot for us
That's
when we finally figured everything out.
And I think for you,
And by the way,
yes,
my child is perfectly and wonderfully made. It does not mean
Nice.
that neurodivergent is a bad thing. It just means we had to do things a little differently in our house.
I like that. I think I like that, and also
Perfect, by the way.
separate from
perfect.
them being,
Both of them.
No, perfect. They are. I've met them. They're great kids. Absolutely. But I think I think you have to see all your kids as different.
Yeah.
They are different, even if they might look alike. They could be
Yeah.
twins, and or maybe they look a lot like you or act a lot like you. They're
Or they
still
act like your husband. No, that's
No,
wrong.
that's a good point.
Just teasing, Ralph. I love
That's
you.
a good point. All good positive things, but at the same time, they're very unique. They're beautifully,
yeah.
wonderfully made in their own way, even if there's a diagnosis or no diagnosis or any kind of complications or anything like that. They're all different. And I think if you take time to really understand your child's spirit and your child's heart, don't you think that kind of helps? Because I think
Yeah.
that's what you did that summer when you realized, oh, this is what we have with this kiddo,
Yeah.
when you got the
Yeah.
diagnosis. And I think that once you understand your child, it's amazing
Well,
how much
sorry,
different it goes.
yeah.
No.
No,
You're good.
and I think too, with that, I mean, again, no one, even to kind of backtrack for a moment, like nobody, even if you have said grandparent, your parent there all the time, right? Yeah, you can look at them and get advice, and obviously that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Or that person that you feel comfortable going to get said advice. But again, it goes back to what we've talked about all the time. Every kid's different. There isn't literally a handbook on your kid because yeah, they may be similar in some aspects to whatever, but they're their own person. You're your own person. You're your own. I'm my own person. We're all different.
Every child can learn. Every child learns differently.
Well, right.
I mean, the key thing,
Well,
and it doesn't. And we're not talking about book
Exactly.
learning. We're talking about going through life.
Yes.
Exactly.
And every child learns life differently.
So as I, go through like with, again with my twins, again they are the same feature wise, but as we have noticed, one is obviously different than the other. The way they go through things is different. There's similarities, but there are different, and that's with not even twins. That's with kids that are 3 years apart. You may go through, 1 to 3 with said child, and it was this way, and then all of a sudden you have another kid or whatever, and they're completely different than what you had to go through with them. But you are learning all the time. So what I mean is, do you go back to the second guessing? Maybe it isn't even. Maybe again, I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe we don't call it second guessing. Maybe it's just you're learning.
You're learning.
I like
it's
that better.
trial and error.
Honestly, I like that way
Trial and
better.
error,
There's something you
Yeah.
said that made me think of this because although, yes, I am grandma and yes, I am the professional mental health therapist
Right.
in previous life, but I still look at my daughter and son-in-law. I'm like, well, what do you think? What do you think this should be? What are they recommending at this age? And what do you know? And I mentioned this last week, the terrible twos is what we called it back when we were raising kids, but now they're teachable twos. And that's just a small little nugget of like how you look at things differently. So I look at them. Even though you would think, oh, I know what I'm doing. Well, guess what? I don't all the
Yeah,
time
you're
know what I'm
reaching to
doing.
them for advice.
And so I look to them. I'm like, well, what do you think? How are you guys gonna? What's the next best thing to do with this particular thing? And it's just interesting. Like cribs, we were putting together a crib. That was so comical. I started to do it by myself. I'm like, yeah, I don't have the brain capacity at 10 o'clock to do this because we needed to get it done by the next day. And I asked my husband to come up, and we sat on the floor. We're putting this crib together, and he goes, why is it so hard? I go, I don't think it is. I think it's just us.
Yeah, exactly.
But the cribs are different. There are things that are different, and that's part of growing and learning is that I couldn't use the same crib I had for my kids because the requirements have changed. The car seats, holy cow, that's a fun experience.
Yeah.
Car seats, wow, I have twisted my body into all different positions to get a car seat in a car now, which I did it all the time.
A lot of fun.
It's so fascinating. And I'm like, why
Things
is this? Things change. They're bulkier. They're more substantial. And they have all kinds of levers and, and gadgets and gizmos. And then the funny part is,
Yeah.
I'll ask my 20-month-old, where does this go? Where's this strap go?
And he
What
knows.
is this? Yeah.
He goes, I'm like, give me more information. I don't know what means.
Right. But again, you guys went through that when they were little. It was
Yeah.
just, again, a little different.
A little
And
different.
so again, it's and I think that's kind of maybe the point of it all. Maybe it's not, again, call it whatever you want, second guessing, whatever, but you are learning. You are learning
like that.
literally as you grow. We're up
like
against it. It's been fantastic as always, getting you guys on, chatting up with you every single week. And again, get your tickets for the crab leg and shrimp boil coming up on March 13th. Again, not that far off at all. And again, info at upatdowncountry.com and 217-617-3568 as well is the number. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always.
Thank you.
No doubt.
You guys
Have a
are
great
fun.
week.
This has been #everyone talking about #everything. Have a great rest of your day.